Welcome to the South Lakes on a rather dreary day. And yes, the Tesla. I think the last time I drove the Tesla was 2017 in Old Windsor, and it absolutely amazed. And since then have gone stratospheric. This is the Model Y. I'm Ben Quirk. Welcome to Planet Auto. To think, Tesla have been around since 2008. Yeah, that's when we first saw the prototypes for the Roadster and the Model S. They were the pioneers of proper electric cars. Yes, I know other manufacturers made them. For example, there was a Golf. It was a Mark II and it was the 90s. But it was Tesla that went mainstream. Now it started with Model S and then Model X. And then Model 3 followed and then Model Y. It's smart, it's practical. In 2023, this was the best-selling vehicle globally. But it's not surprising when you look at how Tesla have rolled out their whole system. I mean, they've built cars that have decent range, decent power, are great fun to drive, and are extremely quick. 8-year warranty on the batteries and the powertrain. 2 years, 50,000 miles on the vehicle itself. But not only that, they pioneered their own network, superchargers. I mean, quality name straight away. And one of the first was at our local services near T-Bay. And the other thing is, yes, batteries go to landfill. No, not always. Tesla don't. They recycle as much as they can. And these really do start at a reasonable price. You can pick up the rear-wheel drive for just under £45,000. It's about 283 miles of range. This, the dual motor, for around £52,000, and that's about 330 miles of range. And if you want to go all out and get the performance one, well, that'll cost you just under £60,000. But with that, you get 3.5 seconds to 60. And this is no slouch with 5 seconds 0 to 60. Now, is it the choice I'd go for? Normally, yes. But to be honest, this is quick enough. Now, bear in mind that the all-wheel drive dual motor and the performance both have the long-range battery. But to be honest, the standard battery is pretty good anyway, 280 so miles. But it's not just the speed, it's the driving. I mean, if you look at some of the changes that they've done over the years, for example, they've given it a slightly softer ride. But it hasn't compromised any of the actual handling, the dynamics. Also, the hardware and the software just, well, it culminates into an exceptional electric vehicle experience. I know I'm raving about it, but it's that damn good. And you can even get one of these for $399 a month, and you've got your company car, benefits, etc. So it's far more cost effective than it first was. All Model Ys are all singing and dancing. The only thing that really differs is the powertrain. You have things like Tesla Vision, which uses cameras for parking sensors as opposed to radar. Tesla have been pretty advanced for many years, but at the same time, simplifying things. Lots of safety. Yes, Autopilot. But no, in the UK, you cannot use level 3. But when you look into the infotainment system, you will see some rather interesting things that say beta next to them. We'll take a look at that in a moment. But it's amazing what this can do. And in the US, what it can truly do. Styling, well, it looks like a 3, which is a damn good thing. It's a good looking electric car. There's no getting away from it. It's massively minimalist, for example, here. But, yet again, you don't need a grille, so why would you have one? Yes, I know a lot of other manufacturers have deleted, but still kept the format, whereas with this, it's just one big chunky bumper. Sloping roofline, I mean, to the point that it's coupe-esque. Sleek, it's modern, you've got the parking sensors there, as well as cameras all over too. It's nothing too radical, it just looks, I suppose it's like classic design language. Curvature around the headlamps. And of course the lights are LED, automatic, adaptive, depending on which you choose. Because it's OTA updates, which is over the air, if the vehicle actually has the, say, the technology for matrix lights, you can roll out an update and then it will have the functionality. So it means you can essentially upgrade your car as you see fit. The thing is, it's not your typical mid-size SUV. It's more like a, I don't know, sleek car. And I do love the colour, the flared out arches, and the black trim here. It's jam-packed full of safety and convenience. Everything from varying autopilot levels through to emergency braking, mitigation systems, great visibility, lane keep assist, road sign recognition, and everything in between. Now Tesla have a mantra: the best accident is no accident. And this has got a pretty damn good track record. I mean, just look at the surrounds for the cameras and the door handles. 20-inch black wheels. Oh. And they are alloys. Yeah, they've not got those plastic trims on them for efficiency. And they're wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport EVs. So they're specifically made for an electric vehicle. They're not the lowest profile tyre either, which makes it very comfortable on pretty much any road. On the motorway, it's amazing how quiet this is, because that's the one thing you want with an electric vehicle. There's no chrome anywhere. Well, I tell a lie, there's chrome inside. It just makes it look so sporty. Now we have a number of options of how to get into the vehicle. Now Annabelle, being Annabelle, has already paired this to the smartphone. So, as long as we've got this on us, I can literally walk up to the car and just open the door. But the other way is with the backup cards, which I can do this. However, let's use the phone. So we can lock it, and we can do loads and loads of other things with this. Climate, you can check your location, you can lock the vehicle, charging status and all that jazz. We can even run software updates. Let's take a look inside. Now to open the door, you literally push this in, this pops out, and then you pull. Frameless doors, love it. Soft materials throughout. And all this, vegan. Elon was one of the first to actually use recyclable, vegan, etc, etc. Padded area here, but if you've noticed, there's no clutter. You have the door release and a door pocket and your electric windows. Stepping in, absolutely no problem. I do have to duck my head a little bit, but once in, I do love a minimalist setup. Yeah, there's no cluster. Welcome to the new age of Tesla. And if you think this one's simplistic, the new Model 3 has buttons for indicators, no stalks whatsoever, and no cluster. Now how do I know that? We'll click this link and you'll see our first look at the brand new Model 3. Normally on the right hand side you have something, whether it's adjusting the lights or, I don't know, a button for traction control. With this, there's no need for it. It's all in here. It's so futuristic. And I do like the way that you've got a light headliner. And don't get me started on that panoramic. And it looks like it's got a smoke tint to it too. And that explains why there's no blind. Construction is solid. All the panels, everything just knits together really well. The speaker countersunk here. The way the seams just meet up. The soft touches. The futuristic looks. You've even got vents hidden here. It's so different compared to a conventional vehicle. It's just very smartly done. Interesting materials. The thing that really comes across in Model Y is your seating position. If you've noticed, the dashboard's dropped rather low and your seats are raised up, so you've got a perfect view. In that way, it feels more MPV. And it's great to see that you've got a decent space between the steering wheel and the windscreen. It just opens it up. As soon as you step in, if you've got your smartphone, the car's alive. And you can quite literally put it in drive and go. Now, if you've got the cards, they do need to be positioned here. It will show you like a motion of it coming up and sliding into there. And then you can activate. It's a rather intelligent vehicle. Now, initially you think, wow, I've got no button for... And its simplistic nature means it doesn't need buttons, it doesn't need rotaries. Everything's straightforward. This is where everything happens. And it is mega responsive. It's got to be the best and fastest infotainment system I've ever used. Everything's just no lag, no delay, nothing. And with this, I can pretty much do anything I need to with the car. And it's high definition. I do love the clarity on this, and if you've noticed, it's powered by Google Maps. We can open the bonnet, close the boot, and open the charging flap. Controls, so you can see all these settings. It mesmerises. So much so, I forgot to shut the damn door. Now that is solid. One thing that's lacking, and that's throughout the whole vehicle, is grab handles. Would be nice to see them on subsequent models. Now if I went into every intricacy of this screen, it would take me literally hours to show you everything. But at the same time, I can show you pretty much everything you need in minutes. So you've got your controls, your dynamics, so your acceleration. So you can have it on standard, or chill, and chill lessens the acceleration. And you can choose whether it will creep when you back off, roll, or hold. So I've got it on hold, one pedal driving, no paddles. But it doesn't really need it. Off-road assist, slip start. So you can free your vehicle in snow, sand or mud. So if you look at charging, you can see range, you can see the consumption, the way it's used power, etc, etc. You even get tips. Autopilot. So your traffic aware cruise control, auto steer beta, single pull, double pull traffic aware cruise control, which will activate when the gear stalk is pulled down once driving manually. And it is very easy to do, and it's a good system. Set speed, traffic light sign, controls, offset, a myriad of safety, forward collision warning, lane departure avoidance, automatic emergency braking, emergency lane departure, obstacle aware acceleration. The one thing that struck me about driving this for the last probably 200 miles is it does not nag. Even the safety, it's not invasive. You can also play around with the light ambience too. Display, now that's awesome. Reduce blue light. Scroll wheel function, so we can put favorites. So I've set it to acceleration mode. Strips, things like average energy, total energy, distance, the normal kind of thing that you get in navigation. So you've got sentry mode. When you get out of the car, it's watching, so if somebody dings your door, it will record. Camera based detection and view live camera via your mobile app. Awesome. You've even got a pin to drive if you want one. Same with a glove box pin. 120 miles an hour. Let's put it back to 85. Cabin overheat protection, airbags, chimes, Joe mode. I don't know him. Enabling Joe mode reduces the volume of your car's chimes. Quieter chimes continue to alert the driver effectively and minimize disruption to passengers in the rear seats, e.g. Joe's kids. Wow. Which shows you your tyre pressures and manuals and the information on your vehicle. Name your vehicle. Model Y is now called Alpha. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, so you can connect for things like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And Toy Box. You've got an arcade, so you've got games. And yes, you can connect a Bluetooth controller to this. Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Audible, Tidal, Karaoke. And here's me with the Fugees. Strumming my pain with his fingers. I think it's the best sound system I've ever heard. And the bass drives remind me of the competition systems I had back in the day. If I go into the air conditioning, this is where your modes are. So your dog, your camp, biohazard mode, adjust airflow, etc, etc. Heated seats, heated steering wheel. Interestingly, there's no controls in the rear. You've also got dog mode and camp mode. So in dog mode, it'll display something like, I don't know, 66 degrees and have a picture of a dog and say, I'm happy. Camp mode, it'll allow you to have the air conditioning on and the USB chargers and say 8 hours will use about 10% of your battery. Glamping, Teslamping, internet browser, theatre and DAB radio. Now this is a real party trick. Welcome to Planet Auto. Is that a speaker on the car? If you've noticed, it does have like a voice modulator. I'm going to turn it off or I look like a complete muppet. Too late. Because everybody needs one whoopee cushion, don't they? I can even make the car do it outside. Elon, you humorous guy, you. And a sketchpad. And PA from yesterday. And I think that's it for the screen. Great driving position, decent headroom. What's that? 3 inches, something like that. Fully electric seat. No massage, but I've got lumbar and a heck of a lot of adjustability. So I can tilt the front, I can drop the height of the seat, etc, etc. Comfortable buckety, and you can go for a white interior. I think the black suits it rather nicely. Storage point here, twin mobile phone chargers and cup holders. Armrest that's wide enough for you and your passenger, and you've got extra storage. Leather wrapped steering wheel, and it's a great size. Steering wheel adjustment, save, restore. A button for the glove box. So yeah, memory function, seats, etc. Well, I think that's your lot. Let's take a look at the rear. Did you notice I don't turn anything off? And also, adjustable seat belts. If you like this type of video, why not subscribe to the channel? You just hit the button on the right hand side. It's free and you'll get an alert every time we upload. Also, if you do like the video, why not give it a like? It all helps and it means we can get more cars. Thank you. Considering it's not pedalled as a coupe, that roofline, wow. And you look at that and think, that's got to limit headroom, hasn't it? Well, not quite as much as you'd expect. Decent clearance in the arches, and the ride height's not too bad either. And as I mentioned before, it is all-wheel drive. It means you can get off the beaten track. I wouldn't quite take it green laning, but I bet it can hold its own. Just look at the side skirts. Sporty, but not garish. Excellent brakes. But with the powertrains in these, it's not surprising. I mean, look at the size of the calipers and the discs. You've got the roof, so just go straight into the rear window. Pretty damn spectacular. Let's take a look in the rear. The door opens relatively wide, and it is child's play to climb into. Let's watch this. Dip my head a little bit, but once in, how roomy. I can get my feet under the seats, and this area is just massive. And this is set at a lavish 6'3". I don't need this much room. Look at the difference between those two seats. And as it's Tesla, all this is soft. Great materials once again. Door release and electric window. And just look at my headroom. Sat like this, what's that, 2-inch? As for the roof, proper solid. And I think it reminds me of, it's like a big sea tunnel in SeaWorld in Florida. I mean, look at the width of it and the length. It takes panoramic to a whole new level. The colour scheme works really well in here. You've got the darker colours and you've got the lighter colours with the sunroof that just gives it, well, it makes it extremely airy. Considering it's a mid-size SUV, you'd be forgiven for saying it's a large SUV. Comfortable, supportive, and just finish very, very nicely. Isofix points, and the seats don't slide, but they do recline. And they use the motor, and it doesn't push against you. Pull down armrest with 2 cup holders. Before I mentioned heated seats. Where do you operate them? Good question. Like most things, in the screen. We've not got the biggest rear window, but because of all this, it still lets ample light in. Look at the space down here. Map pocket here, map pocket there, and 2 USB-Cs. Oh, and map reading lights. With a button. This is certainly one for a long haul. Got a great view out the front. Airbags throughout. And I think that's your lot. No, I have to finish on one final thing. The sound system, I mentioned it before. But in the rear, it's like being in an auditorium. Okay, let's take a look at the rear. I love the way that the rear toes in. I mean, you can really see it from this angle. Also the shaping here. All designed for efficiency. And it does a damn good job. It doesn't seem to use range, this vehicle. And that's even on the motorway at higher speeds. LED lights, and they do remind me of previous models. This is cool. It's nice to see that continuity from model to model. Very simple, the rear, just the T for Tesla and dual motor. And I do like this rear diffuser styling. The colour scheme on this really works. But bear in mind, you don't have to go for this colour. It's a fair old palette. Look at the way that the spoiler's built into the actual boot. High level brake light. Finally, we've got parking sensors and a reversing camera. Charging, as easy as press and then plug in. You also have a button here, so if you want to stop the charge, press that and then remove. And it is quick, meaning you'll get 150 miles in 15 minutes. Now if you use the mobile charger, then over 24 hours. But I think we paid something like £16 for 280 miles. If you're going to go for an electric vehicle, if at all possible, get a Type 2 charger. That's what makes these mega efficient. But bear in mind, manufacturers do offer packages, and especially Tesla, because they have their own network. So you get preferential rates anyway. And finally, it will Type 2. So wall boxes, public chargers, you name it. Let's take a look in the boot. Power tailgate, and you can use your app to open it, as well as the button with screen. At 6'3", I can just fit under it. This is all padded too. That's the thing, the levels they go to with refinement, pretty damn good. Nice thick rubbers. Lots of carpeting. No boot lip, decent sized boot. What, 2 months of shopping in there? Thing is, I think it's about 800 litres. Drop it and it increases to 2,000 litres. Extra storage points here and here. And under here, wow, there's no end to things you could get in there. May not be the deepest, but the actual reach of it, excellent. 12-volt socket, and I do like this spotlight system as well, so it illuminates from the top. First things first though, we'll remove the parcel shelf. Very simple. You just literally pull the back up and it unhooks, and then it slides out. Because it's got no transmission tunnel, it makes it perfect for stowing the parcel shelf, especially if you're in camp mode. There's even extra storage there. Perfect for valuables. 2 switches for the seats, and it lays virtually flat. I'd have absolutely no problem getting my mountain bike in there. I may have to remove the front wheel, but it is a bit of a beast. Let's take a look under the bonnet. To release, I'd normally go to this corner, not on this. To open the frunk, or bonnet, is this. And there we go, done. Sadly, it doesn't go up like the animation. That would have been really cool. Struts, love it, and yeah, that's how you do it. And that's not the smallest planter either. Another thing that people use this for is for keeping food hot. It also doesn't permeate around the cabin because of all this. You can top up your wipers as well. But that's about it. And it really does stagger me how Tesla have managed to simplify pretty much everything. Nice light bonnet, and to close, just a firm push. Time to get behind the wheel. Welcome behind the wheel of the Tesla Model Y. And yes, it's quick. Considering it's an SUV, it's amazing how agile and dynamic it is. Granted, it's an electric car, so it's got a fair bit of weight on its side, but it's still got, well, it's pretty tall, so it may be coupe-esque, but you expect it to have wallow, and it doesn't. It has a slight bit of body roll, but that just adds to the comfort. It's a genuinely dynamic car, isn't it, Annabelle?
There were just no words for how sophisticated it is when it comes to how well it's put together, and how seamless it is in terms of speed, manoeuvrability, drive.
Well, that's it.
Ooh.
The refinement as well. And the thing that really sticks in my mind is the weight of the regen. As standard, it's just decent. And then I can tweak settings in here as well, which make it really easy. And if you put it in standard, then you've got, well, the full power of the car, which is 0 to 60 in a touch over 5 seconds, but it could be quicker. Performance mode, if you go for that model, I mean, that will cost you just under 60 grand, but it'll do 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, whereas, as I mentioned, this is 5, and it's plenty fast enough, and it comes in at a reasonable price. I mean, these start at 45, but this one's 52, but it's well worth the money. Now, yes, no cluster, but you get used to it rather quickly. You can see everything you need here. Now, you've already seen the infotainment system, so you know what this car's about. But driving it on a country lane, it'll put a lot of cars to shame. It just feels glued to the road. And the steering, you can even adjust the weight. It's a light, standard, or heavy. I prefer heavy. It's not surprising, is it?
Generally, no.
It reminds me of lowered cars with that weight, to be honest. It's great acceleration, and when it comes to range, it claims around 330. Now, obviously that's dependent on how you drive, what the weather's like, and of course, if you enter into the city, then it's going to increase exponentially. But the one thing I did notice about this is, on motorways, it doesn't use half as much range as you'd expect, and that's at a decent motorway speed. I mean, check that composure as I cornered then. It feels extremely well appointed as well. Refinement, you can hear pretty much nothing. Mind you, they have increased that in latter years.
They use a totally vegan interior, and one part of the recycled materials that they use is this redwood, it's like veneer lacquer, that kind of thing. And it's very nice to touch.
Yeah, it ticks a lot of boxes, doesn't it? And I still can't believe it starts at around 45 grand.
Yeah. Well, look at this armrest. It's huge. It's more than big enough for you and I.
And it's got decent acceleration, the kind of thing that'll keep me satisfied. Would I go for the performance? Quite honestly, probably not. This has got everything it needs. Now the one thing that is lacking is buttons. There's probably in total around 10, and that's including the front and the rear. There's no rotaries, but you do have stalks. Putting it in drive is nice and easy. And to put it in cruise control, you just push this down, and then it's adaptive, and it'll sit in traffic, wait for a goodly amount of time, and then pull away, as opposed to other vehicles where you have to tap the accelerator.
Well, there you have it. The Tesla Model Y. Watch out for our road trip. Coming soon. Thanks for watching.